my laptop for the ad. If you need to remember that, Monday 1 day, Tuesday 2 day, Wednesday what day? Thursday,
Sam, you're in my shot.
3rd day.
What?
Yeah. What? That's the best part of that drop. Sam's drop is so weird. I don't even know what that means. But then Luds goes, what? It's the best. No Luds today. Sam is in my shot. That's okay. No, I'm kidding. Come on. You can come in. Reach in. Yeah. No. Sam, over here. You got to look at the camera. He's over here going. Anyway.
Let's start the show.
We're going to have fun today. No Luds. No Sean. But we add a Robert of starsthoughts.com. Robert, Sam, me, Ryan. Let's go right now. It is Monday. It is October 13th. This is the DLLS Stars podcast, a undefeated DLLS Stars podcast. Alongside Sam Nessler, our producer, Ryan Vaughters, I'm Owen Newkirk, and you might notice that Luds looks a little different today. That's because he's not on the show. Instead,
a little better, you might say.
We are thrilled to have our friend Robert Tiffin of starsthoughts.com joining us for today's show, and we're going to talk a bit about the Dallas Stars today. Shocker. Like, how do you even figure that out? We'll get into a bunch of stuff. We have some fun audio and video and some interesting stuff from practice today as the Stars were at the AAC. We'll get into that. And, of course, a little bit later, we have one of the goofiest sequences. We were going to talk about, I think it was Friday or Saturday last week, from Thursday night's NHL action that we never got to. Sharks.
Maybe it was a game on Friday.
Golden Knights.
Oh, no, they didn't play any games on Friday. Or maybe it was Sunday.
Oh, my God. They only had one game on Sunday. Yep. First, I didn't know where you were going with that. Then I realized you're...
Any time to take a shot at the old NHL.
The schedule makers. Well, they have games going on right now, in fact. But let's get to it. Robert, Sam.
Yes.
2-0 is exactly where you want to be after 2 games. Is this exactly where they are? Because in some senses, there are some things about their offense that looks like they are mid to even playoff form already. And then there's some things that which we kind of expected. And I'll go to Robert first because Sam and I have had a chance to talk about this with Luds. You knew with a new coach and some system changes that it wasn't going to be seamless. And you can see that in their defensive zone because there is thinking going on, not playing.
You can see that for sure. I think you guys talked after the game the other night about that sequence between Wyatt Johnston and Nils Lundqvist. They were kind of deciding who's going to go out and actually attack the puck. And, of course, the puck ends up going right through them anyway. But the encouraging thing, I guess, obviously they have growth areas. I'm sure you talked about it after the game the other night, too. There's a lot that they still need to work on. But boy, you could be in a lot worse places than having the best possible record after 2 games. As you mentioned, 2-0-0 is the best record you can have, really. And then you still have work to do. If that's your floor, right? If that's, we really didn't play well against a really good team in their barn and we're still at 2-0, boy, that's a pretty good place to be.
If you really want to split hairs.
The tiebreaker of a shootout win versus overtime.
I'm so glad you picked up on that.
But I don't want to split hairs. Some of us don't have many hairs to split.
2 ROWs, regulation wins. Actually, I don't even want ROWs. I just want RWs. No. Honestly, it's right. And Luds and I were talking about this on a post-game show. We've lost Sam already. It is 4 minutes and 10 seconds into the show. Sam has no idea what we're talking about. Luds and I were talking about how it's so much easier. It's my favorite drop. It really is.
Nice.
It's so much easier to talk about those things. The coach to I'm not even saying feigning disgust in certain aspects of the team's game, but it's easier to be sort of working on those things while also in the happier mindset of you've won hockey, especially against division opponents whom you faced and beat in the playoffs in their buildings.
Mm-hmm. You've got to win games. You want to bank points, right? We all know the stats about Jake Ottinger in October. He's nails in October, and he was certainly against Colorado the other night. And I mean, I think when Sam was in Colorado, we heard it firsthand from the coach about how this team doesn't need a lot to score. You give them a little bit of space and they can capitalize, and that's exactly what they did. So in a lot of ways, you saw their best version of a bad game the other night, where they used their strengths to overcome their weaknesses, that being goaltending and scoring. And you could do a lot worse than to have those strengths be the difference.
I like that he was honest. I don't remember if it was after the game or today or both. He just said we didn't have our legs. Like we just didn't simply.
I think he said it this morning.
You can look at all the X's and O's. We talked about some breakdowns defensively, a little bit of chasing in their own zone. But really, they looked like a team that didn't have the legs to keep up with the Colorado Avalanche, and they still found a way to win the game, and that is pretty incredible.
And Robert, you pointed out when we were chatting at the AAC this morning that you felt the third period really started to highlight that. And you wonder if is it the legs from travel? Is it the altitude? Is it because Colorado's such a fast team? Or maybe a little bit of all those things?
I think it's a little bit of all of those things. But I also really think, again, it's early, so you want to be hesitant to say this is, all the coach has worked on has culminated in this specific victory. But when Golitzson talks about road hockey and that ability to go out there and play without thinking too much, especially on offense, I think this is exactly that sort of game where you can almost kind of draw that conclusion that, this is a team who didn't have their best game. They didn't have their legs. And yet when they got their chances, they were capitalizing on them. And that's what you want. You want a team that doesn't let those mistakes, doesn't let the fact that Colorado kept counterpunching and kept dominating, kept having the puck, take the wind out of their sails completely. They still had enough to find those big plays when they needed them, certainly in goal, but even in the offensive zone too.
Yeah, it's fun. Harley said that too. He literally used the term road hockey in the postgame, saying,
"That's right.
We just feel like," and they're dancing around things, right? Nobody wants to say flat out, "We like it better than we did in the last few years under Pete," or anything like that, because one, that's not true in all cases, and two, they don't want to throw their former coach under the bus. But Harley was straight up it feels like we have a little more ability to make a play, to read the situation and do what we think is right. Use your hockey sense, not just be in a structure that's so rigid. And I think in those situations, you get worn down, you get pushed around. That's where that can shine a little bit.
It's a great point you make about it's not always true that it's not black and white, Pete DeBoer versus Glenn Golitzson.
Right.
Robert, I've been watching the Netflix Cowboys series, and I'm sort of intermittently as I can when, we're not doing all this hockey stuff. And, I went through these scenes of, and we lived this back in the 90s, but get to rewatch it. And they're talking about the difference when they fired Jimmy Johnson, they go to Barry Switzer, and those players had mixed reactions because they loved Barry the guy and how he had interpersonal relationships, but they missed Jimmy's coaching and the GM part and the taskmaster especially Troy Aikman. And so you take that as sort of a comparable. There are a lot of guys that were very positive about Pete DeBoer when he was the coach of the Dallas Stars. This isn't a don't let the door hit you on the way out kind of situation. Right. But it can also be true that there are certain things they like better, but that doesn't mean it's black and white 100%.
And if you're Pete DeBoer the last 3 years, what have you surely been hammering in all your video sessions? When we do the things we're supposed to do and we do them right, when we arrive on time, when we are responsible and we have the sort of coverage we're supposed to have, look at how well things work. I mean, we've said how many times that they had the best regular season record over the last 3 seasons combined under Pete DeBoer. He had plenty of places to point to reinforce the fact that his systems and the players' play were working and doing a lot of good things. So I think you're right. The players don't just toss that out and say, yeah, but we lost in the playoffs, so that was all worthless. No, they know full well that they had a recipe that could get them really far and get them a lot of success. But when you keep losing to the same team and when you actually lose to that same team much worse the second time than you did last year, then I do think that some change was needed. And like Sam said, they've been dancing around it more or less because they don't want to completely throw them under the bus, but also because they could tell some change will be needed in crunch time. So you might as well just rip off the Band-Aid.
Do you think Pete would have been fired after 2 years if they had lost in the first, maybe even second round both years instead of the Western Conference Final?
After 2 years?
What if they had great regular season records 2 years in a row and lost to Edmonton in the first round 2 years in a row?
That's a little bit. DeBoer kind of posed that question, right, in that interview he did with
it was
NHL.com, where he said, well, hey, look, if we'd gotten the first round my first year, the second round my second year, and the third round my third year, then we're making progress. And he said it, kind of a little bit, not sarcastically, I should say.
Snarky.
There's a little bit
Yeah.
underlying that where he said, I'm a victim of my own success a little bit. But it's true. I think it's true. Like after 2 years, if they're just making it to the first round, again, under Rick Bowness, right? They'd missed the playoffs, then they got back and got, Jake Ottinger got them to Game 7 overtime against Calgary. But other than that, they didn't look like that team. If they were having a good regular season record, but then, getting bound, like look at Colorado, right? Does Colorado consider, oh man, we need to blow it up because of our last 3 years?
Right. It's
Probably
fair.
not quite. Probably not quite. So I don't think he would have been fired after 2 years if they'd had the regular seasons they were having.
Let's talk about Sam's trip to Colorado, because this is the part that I'm staggered with. You know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
Sam had, drumroll please, an uneventful trip for DLLS.
Oh boy.
Now maybe it's because it was just to Denver, Dallas to Denver, pretty
It
easy.
wouldn't matter.
But you have
I missed
been
morning skate last time I went to
the
Denver.
king of the dark rain cloud following you wherever you go when it comes to trying to connections and flights and getting places. I didn't hear any of this. This was as smooth as it gets.
I had a 15-minute delay on my flight home yesterday.
Oh,
And I didn't even notice because it was
I'm sorry to hear that. That
No,
sounds
because
tough.
it was so different than what the other ones. I was literally like, I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, we're 15 minutes late. I just didn't even think about it because like the other ones were 3 hours or 2 nights stuck in Colorado. So this was I'm very, very grateful because it worked out well. Everything was seamless. Going to the hotel, no issues. Get in Denver, got to the game, got to walk a couple times from the rink to the hotel because I was close by. Weather was great. It worked out beautifully.
now you still haven't tracked down the Pete DeBoer pizza place, though.
No. And I should have maybe checked it out because I was
You went to barbecue instead,
hotel.
because there's nothing like leaving North Texas to get barbecue.
I only did that. So the funny thing about me getting barbecue there was because across from my hotel was a brewery that had a barbecue food truck and it had all the football games on. So I was like, I'm going to go to the brewery. I'm going to sit outside. I'm going to watch the Texas-Oklahoma game, get some barbecue. And then it rained. So I ended up getting the barbecue and having to go back to the hotel and eat it. So the plan did not go as
So
I
the rain
wanted it
cloud
to.
did find you
The rain
eventually.
cloud
It just
found
was
me.
delayed.
Yes. So I had to watch the Texas game in my hotel
Okay,
room with barbecue.
aside from
instead.
our travel log, which is fun, but from the actual hockey side of it, it was your first foray, second game of the season.
Yep.
You're there morning skate. You get to watch the game, post-game stuff. Anything that really stood out to you?
Yeah, the two for me was the how loose in a good way the team is. I know at times last year we talked about how I think after that Vancouver collapse, we kind of made a point that they still seemed like they were smiling and laughing around the rink. So it was there. This group's always been close and had fun, but it's a whole different level. Like it is.
Do you think it's
truly-
lighter?
It's lighter, and I talked about Maverick Bork using that word about how he feels specifically, but the whole team just feels that way. They're able to have a little more fun and not just joking around and messing around at the rink. Like, let's go out and work on a drill that is actually going to help us, but let's have a little fun with it. And I think that feeling goes all around the rink. Everybody seems to be in a better mood, and it doesn't seem to feel like they're a tense group that if I make a mistake or anything like that, it's going to really feel it. And that comes from the coach, but I noticed it from Glenn too, because I think I asked him on postgame and what he does when he feels his team's not playing well. And he said, stay calm. That's the number one thing I do. Stay calm. If I start getting anxious and freaking out and John Cooper screaming the F word at his team, not that anything
With
about
a
John
2-goal
Cooper.
lead.
John Cooper's done plenty to earn that right.
Yes.
But Glenn Golitzin just said it like, I just like to stay calm, think about it, take a deep breath, and then find a way to relay that information in a productive way, because the last thing you want to do is get a team that's probably already thinking we're all over the place, this is going on, and then all of a sudden you start piling on and doing that as well. And I think that, as funny as it sounds, speaking of Pete, was Game 5 in a nutshell. Was a team that was imploding on the ice and a coaching staff that was imploding on the bench. All of it just kept spiraling down and down and down. And at least so far, Glenn's only been here for 2 games. We're yet to see a 4-game losing
Undefeated.
streak or something that to really test what he's like after that. But after a game that was pretty bad, he was really honest about it, fully understanding on what they needed to work on, and very calm. And I've liked that so far.
And
from
isn't
him.
it easier for Glenn to be critical of his team's play after a win in Colorado and a 2-game sweep on their road trip, as opposed to, oh man, we haven't found anything so far, and if I yell too much now, I don't want to mess with where we're building.
Yep.
That's what goes back to the initial comment, Robert, that we were talking about at the beginning of the show today, was it is great to be in this position, even with the warts and the wrinkles they have to iron out, because you can say we won, we feel good about ourselves, and let's talk about how we're nowhere near where we need to be.
And I think you also have to give, I don't know of the players that you guys have talked to, but some of the players I've talked to last year and early this season who are new, asking them about what it's like coming into this room. One of the consistent themes that I've heard has been, whoa, coming in here is like really great. Like this is a room that isn't just light, but they're light and confident, not just high standards, but like high standards that we all hold each other to in a way that's just taken for granted, right? And I think Mikko Rantanen's a big part of that.
I think he's a huge part of it.
A really big part of it, because here you have your superstar, highest paid player who is also out there, wrestling with players on the ice today and everything.
Yeah. And he's one of the last guys out there.
And one of the last guys out there who works he works hard off the ice too. We've all heard and seen in some cases throwing the ball against the wall and all sorts of things. And that creates a culture, I think, that's really easy to come into as players and easy to keep going to, regardless of whether your coach
Sean's going to
changes.
love this, because Sean made this claim after Game 5. He said, I'd hire Glenn Gulletson as your head coach, and I would make Mikko Rantanen your captain. Half of it's already come true. I would not at all be surprised if at some point down the road after Jamie Benn retires, Mikko Rantanen wears the seat for the Dallas Stars.
That's
we'll see.
A conversation.
We'll have that conversation later. We have talked about it here on the show. A lot more with Robert, Sam, and the Stars. We have some sound to play from Denver on Saturday night. We'll do that next year on DLLS.
Guys, it's that time of year. It's fall. Not in Dallas yet.
Doesn't feel like fall.
The cool air will start to come, and that means you need to have some good windows, Owen, because otherwise that cold air can get in and it can get a little bit chilly. It's not always going to be beautiful out there, and guess who has you covered? Window Nation. Window Nation in Dallas is the best place to get windows. They offer a lifetime warranty on all of their windows, so you can relax knowing your home is protected far into the future. Eliminate all those annoying drafts once and for all with the top quality replacement windows from Window Nation. They have some of the best replacement windows out there, and their installation crew will finish the job in 1 day or less, so you do not have to sit there all day waiting around and hoping that they fix it by the end of the week. It will be 1 day or less to get you ready to go. Get started on your free estimate before October 31st. That's Halloween, folks. It's coming up soon. To save big on your replacement windows. Schedule a fast, free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation, windownation.com.
Thank you, Sam. It's time to talk about Game Time. Perfect timing.
Game Time.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm very excited the hockey season is back. And of course, we have the home opener for the Stars coming up tomorrow night. There's nothing better than being in the building. The energy, the pace, the passion does not do it justice if you just watch it on TV. Now, you should watch it on TV when they're out of town, but if you're here for Stars games, or let's say you're on the road traveling and you want to catch either a Stars or another NHL team, you need to use Game Time. It's so easy to use. I used it this summer, and yes, Sean, I talk about it a fair amount because it's actually a personal experience. Sam has used it, although you haven't actually gone to the game yet.
No, a couple weeks.
But Sam has used it. Think about this. You get great things, and you can get NHL tickets for great deals, maybe as low as $25. Priority fees included. You know your upfront costs. There's no surprise fees at checkout. You can even go with zone deals. Save more money by letting Game Time pick your seats if you just choose a section. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. You download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Like I did. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, let's talk about some reaction to Colorado, Dallas on Saturday night. Let's first and foremost say, before we play the videos, from a entertainment standpoint, you can't get much better than that hockey game.
It's a lot of fun. Up and down, bad defense makes for entertaining games. And
right.
Both sides probably were pretty critical about some of the goals.
Great goaltending, right? It doesn't have to be goals. I always say that it has to be scoring chances, and particularly quality ones, high danger, high grade A chances. That makes hockey games. He doesn't have to go in. If it's a goalie duel and it's 0-0, but you've got chances end to end, thrilling. It's the neutral zone trap slog hockey that Ludz's team perfected in the 90s. Although not as badly as the New Jersey Devils. That's the stuff where, and I say this to Sam all the time, when I was growing up and I would watch in the mid-90s, I was a Bruins fan in New England, if they were playing the Devils and New Jersey scored first, I knew the game would be terrible because they would literally try to suffocate the life out of it. This hockey game was fantastic. The games we were watching Boston versus Tampa, we were watching Colorado playing afternoon in Buffalo. Wild hockey so far. this is fun because the coaches haven't ruined it by tightening all the defensive systems yet.
They do that.
Just like, remember when 3-on-3 first came out?
Yeah.
And Lindy said, we'll find a way to spoil it. And they did.
Yep. They did, to regroup.
And
they didn't used to regroup at first.
Chaos hockey is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know when that switch will flip. At what point is it 10 games in, 5? When do we start seeing that? But right now, teams are going offensively. Defenses are awful. And that it was really fun. And it's also better because the Stars won.
Yeah.
But even if they lost, 5-4 is a lot better than 2-1.
5-4, a goalie who stood on his head, a fight, a shootout, tons of chances, a freaky, weird goal that ended up not counting from Robertson. It had everything. It's actually funny you said that because I was thinking about it on my flight back yesterday. I've started to learn to step back. I don't know if you feel this ever, but sometimes I feel like I'm putting on a coach's hat too much. And I'm like, God, they need to figure out how to get that adjustment in the defense. Just sometimes you just got to relax and enjoy the fact that it's a chaotic hockey game in front of you. I'm not the coach. We don't have to worry about if they're bad. It's going to be fun either way. I don't know if you feel that ever.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy to watch looking for certain things or knowing what you should be seeing and then you don't see it. And then to kind of focus on that. And also because you're kind of like riding your game while you're watching it too. So you're kind of, okay, this is an issue or whatever. But as a fan, you know, that Colorado Dallas game the other night, I'm sure like a neutral fan tunes into that and says, oh yeah, this is great. This is great. I love, you know, the coaches are probably both not thrilled, but I'm loving it.
It's fantastic hockey. And Sam, to rant about the schedule like we did on Friday, the fact that there were no games on Friday and only one game yesterday, granted, okay, they wanted to make sure they'd played a 32-team, 16-game slate on the first Saturday. But that caused some really truncated game schedules on both sides of that.
And a heavier than usual Monday schedule, too, today for Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and that's fair. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to all our Canadian fans, even though it's the wrong month. But no, I'm kidding. So let's talk about Jake before we get to those videos. You guys mentioned a great goaltending performance. I did not think he was great on Thursday night in Winnipeg. I don't think he was terrible, but I don't think that he was as good as we expect him to be on a consistent basis. Now, look, you're going to have ups and downs and everything. Boy, did he make up for it. I wonder if he wasn't thrilled with his game on Thursday in Winnipeg because he looked like he was on a mission, and it started early. The Winnipeg game, Sam, you and I talked about this during the show Thursday night, looked like he was fighting the puck a little bit, not tracking it real well. We noticed it really early in the Colorado game. He looked really sharp, and it translated throughout the hockey game.
I'll just be honest. I actually didn't think he had as bad of a game in Winnipeg as I think the 4 goals might have made it look, just because most of those were on grade A, grade double A chances. And I know we were talking about earlier, even before the show, but for me, when you have a breakaway and that sort of kind of a prime scoring chance, and especially if it's someone like Kyle Connor who scored a hat trick, there's a reason those players make that money. There's a reason that you expect them to score when they get those chances. If you're Kyle Connor's coach and he doesn't score in those chances, you're thinking, oh man, he really should score on that or whatever. So I don't think we can kind of have it both ways a little bit. Not that you're saying that, but to me, I think the main goal that actually lines up completely with that was, I think it was the second Kyle Connor goal where he got the initial save, but he lost track of it as it kind of tumbled down in front of him, and Connor found the rebound first. Whereas in Colorado, he was absolutely on his game. It looked like he was out there to prove a point for sure.
That's the one that I noticed. I said it Thursday, but that Jake is a big positional goalie. So when he's on his game, that's how you tell. He's clean. He's very efficient with his movements, and his rebound control is great. If you watch the first period in Colorado, the amount of times he looked through 5 or 6 people and just swallowed that up in his gut, or forget who it was, McKinnon maybe on a one-timer or something from the circle, and he's not just out and like catching up to it. He makes the save and he punches it with his blocker right in the corner. That's when you know Jake is seeing it super well, because he's a step ahead of the shot instead of reacting. And he looked great in that game. And he was so gassed that he sat down for post-game media instead of standing up. You're like, you could stay. You don't need.
You know he's been working hard when that happens.
Yeah, you don't need to get up.
To me, that's the sort of Jake Ottinger game that we have seen before, where I tend to be more critical, where those shots are getting through or where he's not catching up to the man. Even if he's making the save, if he's not kind of tuned in. And to me, that's where. If it had been like that in Winnipeg, where shots were going in from distance, or he's just not tracking or picking it up through bodies or screens, that's where I would be a lot more critical, because he needs to use his size to be able to stop those. But when it's mostly breakaways and stuff like that, I tend to be more of an apologist for goalies in those moments. But also, I was a goalie in soccer for a while, so I tend to be an apologist.
We are too.
You would think that would be the case, but I I actually get more because I was the same thing. I was a goalie in college in soccer. And,
Yeah, you were a lot better than I was. Let's be clear.
But let's just say it in this regard. Sean was critical of him. And when Sean says it, I tend to believe it because he's their goalie expert.
As much as you can believe anything Sean says.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he didn't like the first Kyle Connor goal. He says that I want to see Jake be more athletic than that. It looked like he got caught swimming a little bit. Yeah. It is backdoor, but and Sam, you've talked about how he doesn't use his stick. He could. Luds wanted him to put his stick down and interrupt that
Cross
pass.
one, yep.
But ultimately, I thought it was a wonderful response. And for your $8 million plus goalie, who also expects to be pushing for the starting job in the Olympics for Team USA, he needs to do that. And he doesn't have to steal games all the time, but he has to not be the root cause of losing them either.
And remember last year, to start the season, the Stars were having trouble finding offense and their power play wasn't clicking. A lot of players weren't, Robertson wasn't scoring, Johnson wasn't scoring, even Heiskanen wasn't really scoring that much. And they needed Ottinger to really carry them. Yeah. The scoring doesn't look like it's going to be a problem so far early this season, and he's still carrying them in a really, really tough game. So in a lot of ways, I think there's even more reason to be positive kind of through 2 games, albeit, than there was last year.
Yes, Sam.
Sam Nessler, DLS. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Does the goal count if they win the shootout 5-4? Does that mean the Stars scored 5 goals?
The Stars scored 5 goals, Sam, but it's counted as a team goal. A goal scored. The winning team in a shootout gets awarded a team goal.
Yes.
So your goals in the standing, which is one of the tiebreakers.
So in the standings, it would be listed as
you
goals
do have
for
5. Your team,
but your individual player doesn't get.
Yeah, I knew that. I just wasn't sure if it counted.
Yes, it's a team goal. Is the phrase.
There you go.
Let's talk. Speaking of team, Jared Bednar had a funny line because the Stars have this weird schedule with the Avalanche. They played on Saturday, and then they don't play again until March, which is a long time. They'll play 3 times in the back half of the season. This is basically after the trade deadline.
And 7 times in April.
Which is great, except that, boy, wouldn't it be nice if sometime in November or December we saw one of those 3 games? So it's a little bit more spread out. You get a couple early, a couple late. St. Louis, Dallas is weird because Dallas will play the Blues this Saturday, and then they won't play them again until right before the Olympic break, where they'll play twice in a week and then once coming out of it. And all of a sudden, their season, it's again, scheduling is weird. I don't want the job. I just want to complain about it.
Well, maybe Jared Bednar set the schedule because I think he said he'd rather never face Dallas again.
I actually have the clip, so let's hear Jared Bednar.
Sorry.
The schedule is what it is, but is it frustrating? Like, do you wish you were facing Dallas again sooner than March?
No, I don't care. I would love to never see him again.
He was actually in a wonderful mood pregame. He was talking about the tank tops. And, it's funny because I've said this before. Jared Bednar, the way he speaks and his accent, his style of speaking is very different from how smart he is. He's an incredibly accomplished hockey coach. Obviously won championships at the ECHL, AHL, and NHL level, right? He's done it all. But he has sort of a slow way of speaking that sometimes come across as being kind of laid back, kind of loose and casual. This guy's sharp as a tack, but he also has some pretty funny sense of humor. And I kind of enjoyed that line because that also shows that the Stars have been really thorn in the Avalanche side, not just this year, the last few years.
Nice to hear the other side of it once in a while because we talked about, Vegas was the team for Dallas and then now it's Edmonton. It's nice to see they're having that success on the other end as well, though the team doesn't want to play them.
It's good to know that, I have to think it's good for a team to know they're the villain to the other team, right? As much as Dallas has had, like you said, those teams, it's got to be nice, especially as a goalie, maybe like Jake Ottinger, who we know kind of thrives in going in those environments like that, to know that you're in their head a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually funny seeing Colorado hates Dallas fan-wise. The Colorado fans not only hate the Stars, but they hate us as media. They hate everyone that talks about the Stars. They hate the fans don't like each other. It's kind of like that Minnesota Wild Dallas series a few years ago where the fans were just going at it. But if there's a different layer of each, right? They hate Duchesne because he wanted to trade.
Yes.
They hate Rantanen even though he didn't want out, but because he went out and then did what he did to them last year.
He ruined them last spring.
They hate Ottinger, but in a totally different way. Every single comment I saw about Jake is, God, I hate how good Jake is. I wish he was not on the Stars. So it's an interesting balance of I actually hate this player and he's such a good goalie. I wish he wasn't in the division.
I bet you they feel similarly about Jake Ottinger as Stars fans felt about Patrick Waugh back in the day.
Great comparison.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the Nathan McKinnon post-game comment because this perked up a few ears.
It's been good so far.
Power play got back on the board today too. Just how are you feeling about how that's being deployed so far?
What do you mean?
Just how do you feel like it's looking so far?
I thought it was really good tonight. Really good tonight. A lot of great chances. I know we were getting booed. I guess they don't really know what a good power play looks like. We had a ton of chances and just nothing was going in, and we finally got one. So I guess they got to boo us more.
So there it is. The most important player, although you could argue Cale Makar's right there as well, but Nathan McKinnon is their engine room, and he's so good. And their power play was very dangerous. They had tons of scoring chances, couple of great A's, although that first power play they had in period number 1 on Saturday, I tracked them for 6 scoring chances, but no high dangers. Stars PK, I thought, and that's why I asked Glenn Gulletson this morning about the penalty kill, getting to see them now in 2 games versus just being on the other side of it with Edmonton, because this has been a good penalty kill with Elaine Nasruddin for multiple seasons.
It really has been. Again, I think there's an element, if you're the Stars, where you kind of start to think you're in their heads a little bit, given what you've done. And if you're the Avalanche, you probably feel like you've thrown everything at them. You know, you win a couple of games 4-0 or whatever, I think, in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And then when push comes to shove, you can't get that last big goal.
And McKinnon's the only one in that playoff series and again on Saturday that could finally score on the power play. Nobody else, even though they had a bunch of looks. Sam, did you hear the boos on their power play at all when you were there?
I believe they were saying shoot.
You think it wasn't booing?
I don't believe they were booing. If they were, that's idiotic because the power play was very dangerous. But to me, it sounded like it was shoot. The only boos I heard were every time Duchesne touched the puck, Rantanen touched the puck, they showed one of those 2 on the board every time they did it. But I honestly didn't hear them booing the power play, and I hope they weren't.
What about the little snippy Nate McKinnon, though? That's against game 2. Again, well, for them, it was their 3rd game in Colorado, by the way, thanks to the schedule makers, playing their 4th game already today. Dallas has only played 2, so it'll all even out. Dallas is going to have plenty of bad nights in terms of the schedule, but that seems like there's more to it than that. Like, that can't just be disappointed we lost in a shootout of a great game against a good team. That feels like that's something that's been festering a while from Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah, you know what I will say is I'm noticing some more freedom in speech from players so far this year. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
I hope so.
Maybe a little more. I'm going to say that thing that I maybe wouldn't have said, and that to me is what that sounds like. It's like, hey, I could push that off, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say that was stupid.
We need more of this.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I wonder because they get briefings every year, right? And I wonder if maybe this has been a push behind the scenes from the league to, hey, like, don't be afraid to be a little bit spicier.
But why now? Because this league has been criticized for years in the players, and I know we're getting to the break here in a second, but the NHL has always been accused of being a league that doesn't sell itself nearly well enough from a player personality and drama. It's always been, don't get away from the team concept.
Well, and also I think McKinnon, when you're Nathan McKinnon and you are the engine on that team and that power play runs, Makar also, but you're Nathan McKinnon. What else do you need to say? When you also scored that huge power play goal, you wonder if maybe he felt like he was scoring it in spite of the fans a little bit. And that was a little bit of a shot at like, hey, trust the process, folks. It's game 2.
By the way, I asked Mikko Rantanen this morning. He heard the boos, and he definitely heard them before he took that penalty shot.
That was the loudest by far.
The shootout winner. And he smiled when I asked him. He goes, oh, yeah, I heard it.
So my theory is maybe the fans, if they were booing the Colorado power play, it's just because every time they've booed a player, they've ended up scoring on them. So maybe they figure if they boo the power play,
that would be accusing the Avs fans of being very
Our
sophisticated.
booing works.
All right, up next, we had some fun at practice today. We're going to share it with you. We'll get into that here on the DLS Stars podcast.
Do you need to use the bathroom?
No, I was asking about the ad break, but never mind.
This is an ad break. I'm going to talk to you guys about the YouTube Supporters Club. You want to listen?
I'd love to.
YouTube Supporters Club here at DLS is for the real ones, true sicko level stuff. I learned something new about the Supporters Club every day. So me doing this ad read is funny. We should have T.O. doing the ad read, I think, because he gifts out these Supporters Club memberships like they are candy. He's our guy. I am now a proud Supporters Club member because of T.O. for the next month.
Yep.
But the Supporters Club, if you're wondering what it is the new way and the highest level for you to be a fan on our chat. you get exclusive badge, so your name pops out on the chat. You also get access to all of those emojis that you're seeing on the screen, plus some new ones like the Craig Ludwig, and the Stanley Cone has made its appearance. The more people that join the Supporters Club, the more emojis that we get. It's a fun time. You also get exclusive behind-the-scenes videos from us at DLS Stars and around the different teams here. So join the Supporters Club today.
I'm laughing because Ryan made a funny in the chat because Ardell, who is a Supporters Club MVP, Sam shameless about potty talk on the air, and then Ryan under the DLS tag wrote gross. All right, let's talk about then Ardell kept going. If you're not in the chat right now, you need to and use those Supporters Clubs. Let's talk about merch for a second. A new t-shirt dropped at DLS, and it supports the Rookie of the Year for the WNBA, Paige Beckers. Check that out. That's a good-looking shirt. So if you haven't gotten one yet,
she was at the Texas game.
You should. Oh, yeah, the Red River Rivalry.
Row, yeah.
OUT Texas on Saturday. Well, Paige, look at that. That's a great Paige shirt. Get that now. It's a brand new release. If diehards, of course, get 20% off merch. If you haven't signed up to be a diehard yet, you could pick that as your free t-shirt for your first year of your annual subscription. And don't forget, we've got great Star shirts, whether it's the Mikko Moose shirt, where it's the Finnish Mafia, the Otter shirt, the Jamie Benn Captain, the Wyatt Johnston, you name it, extra, et cetera, et cetera. Get your merch today. And, of course, we'll talk about Ball Knower a little bit later.
The shirt's from Target.
Yeah, I know. You don't wear nearly enough DLS shirts.
I thought the reason I looked is because I thought I was. So that was a false excitement.
One I will cherish because this is a Luka shirt. I will continue.
Luka?
Oh, don't start with me. All right. The Stars had practice today. Oh, how about
OG.
Hey, this is an interesting one. Matthew writes in, how about a Jake Ottinger otter emoji? Because there is an actual otter emoji, but he's talking about a Supporters Club emoji.
Is that not it? The sports guy TO used?
That's the regular
Okay.
emoji. That's not the special Supporters
you can see
Club.
it's bigger when you use the Supporters Club emoji.
Well, if you see
the size difference between the
Pop
cone
Pop,
and the
Bing
otter.
Bong, Win, Dirk,
Yeah.
the Brow, 88, the Cowboy Star, Big Tex, Mavrello, Luds, the 32 flag, that's for Cooper, and the Stanley Cone. That's
Stanley
where we're at
Cone
so
is
far.
hilarious.
Very, very cool.
Especially because they didn't win, so it was a failure, but it was hilarious.
All right, so let's talk about practice today. Before we play the video that Sam shot, which is interesting, Robert, I thought that the reasons that Glenn Gulletson gave us why American Airlines Center, why not Frisco, their practice facility, which was something that was very, very common. You come back, practices in Frisco, that's where their headquarters are, that's where the executive offices are, all the hockey operations guys are based out of there. The coaches have their more regular setups there. Training staff has all of their tools. Not saying that they don't at the American Airlines Center, but because it's a shared building, it's not theirs all the time, even though they have their own locker rooms. And Gully was pretty insistent about why he wanted to practice both today and I believe a planned practice Wednesday between the home opener.
Yeah, there have been occasional times in the past, at least in the past few years, where the Stars have practiced. Not morning skate, which is just about always at AAC, but where they practiced downtown. But it's been rare. But this week, I mean, their home opener is tomorrow, and today, and like you said, Wednesday. It sounds like they'll be practicing at American Airlines Center. In his line, he actually used an analogy. He used the Cowboys as an analogy and talked about them, I guess, having some practices where they piped in noise to kind of simulate one of the road environment, maybe Kansas City or
I wondered when he
play.
said that. I was thinking about Arrowhead.
Maybe that was it. But he wanted to simulate that. I know some EPL teams have done that before too, where they want to simulate what it's going to be like playing in another place. They'll like play even trademark music just to kind of psychologically prepare the players for what it's like going to that environment. This is different. This is preparing to play in your home arena. But Gulletson said it's important to practice where you play and just being used to being there. I'm sure there could be other considerations maybe behind the scenes that we don't totally know about, but it does seem, like you said, from what he said today, that he really wants the team to be used to playing on this ice. And I do wonder, after 2 games on the road in 2 different environments, getting a little bit used to how the boards bounce and how the ice works and you know, even where you might get the weird bounces or how the puck comes off the glass and board, it's different in different places. So
the Stars have already almost had one weird fluky bounce in their favor, which didn't count because of an offside. But it is different, and I wonder if it's just another one of those things that we keep seeing. And I think this may not be a fan thing because people and maybe they'll notice some things, but I think it's stuff that we, part of the Dallas media contingency, will notice as we go. Oh, well, this is a little different. Oh, they used to do this.
Yeah.
And it's changed. Like, I've been around for a bunch of different coaches, right? Because of Lindy Ruff, and then Ken Hitchcock came back. And then, of course, we had Jim Montgomery here, and then Bones, Pete.
God, you're old.
Thank you. And you do see different ways how they prefer to do things,
Hey,
whether
Freddie
it's a
Stone.
morning skate or a conversation, how they want to handle the press and do their media stuff, or the routine and what time they practice, whether it's 10 or 10:15, 10:30. I know Pete pushed a lot of stuff to 11 was more of a time. Lindy used to start at 10. I think Monty was like at 10. I mean, again, these are minutia things, but it's stuff that we see because we're there every day.
Well, and I also wonder if it's connected to kind of Goldson's ethos more broadly, where he wants the team to simulate these playoff style environments, you know, the hand-to-hand combat type phrases that he uses.
It's a great segue.
It's not just about the X's and O's for him in the way that maybe some other coaches, you know, around the league, not just the last coach, leaned into a little bit more. Goldson, you know, again, he'll be proven right or wrong based on how they actually do at the end of the day. But it really does seem like, for lack of a better term, he's looking to see a little bit more like heart and vibes and those sorts of things, which is very nebulous, and you don't want to over rely on those things. But it really does seem like he's focused on squeezing that little extra bit of, you know, this is our place. This is where we play. We want to own this.
And Sam, we talked about this the other night, but don't you see? I know it's 2 games and we shouldn't overreact. I feel like for all the offense Dallas has had in 2 games, a lot of it feels like playoff hockey. It's going to the net. It's scoring goals around the other team's crease. It's not just pretty rush chances and tic-tac-toe stuff.
Yeah, and that's what Goldson talked about after the game, is how he's 1%, or his physicality, whatever term you want to use, from how he's kind of wanted to shift this team, is not just his example of the summer was, we're not just going to keep running around and hitting people. Well, it's also those little things. It's he loves to answer when you ask about a goal, even if you're not asking specifically about this, he loves to give you the layers of the goal, because he wants you to know that when Tyler Seguin scored that backdoor goal in Winnipeg, Maverick Bourque was right on top of the crease, and that's what was taking the defenseman away from him. He wants you to know that when Robo made that amazing deflection off the faceoff in Colorado, that there were 2 other forwards in front that were taking away the eyes of the goalie. Those are the things that, first of all, he's clearly looking for, and that I think we're going to see this team start to take on, and that's blocking an extra shot. That's Justin Ritskovian standing up for Miro Heiskanen after getting hit from behind. It's little stuff that maybe not as little, but all of these things.
Yeah, that was noticeable.
All these things accumulate into a team that is going to play hard every single part of the game. They're going to get to that extra area, whether that's winning a battle in the corner, a little bit stronger on your stick in front of the net, going and laying that hit. I've seen Seguin and Hintz. I think you posted the video, had a big hit. Normally he put it circled away from that guy, and he throws that hit.
He finished it.
Finishes hits.
Smaller player, I think it was Gavin Brindley, but
it doesn't matter. It's Tyler Seguin throwing a hit in front of his own boards before he changes. That kind of stuff is starting to build up, and Goldson just keeps talking about it over and over, and I really have liked that. And what Robert was just saying, you know, as funny as it sounds, my dad used to say something like, you know, if you're going to do it right. And that's always stuck with me, where if I'm going to go do this, I'm just going to use an example of I'm going to go do this extra practice or extra media thing, whatever it is, I might as well do it well if I'm going to be there. Otherwise, don't go. And I think that Glenn Goldson's preaching that a little bit. And I'm a big believer in doing things the way you want to actually do them and not being able to flip a switch. I mean, the team was horrible last year, the last 7 or 8 games.
Yeah.
And they didn't look very good when they came out and started the playoffs. And we learned you can't flip the switch. So I know it's early. I know we're far away from game 83, but to instill those behaviors and those habits, I think is really important.
And he's not coming into a team that like has been missing the playoffs or is trying to rebuild and then saying, if we just change our mentality, we're going to jump 20 points in the standings.
Right.
Because you see that sometimes, and that's a coach will sell hope. And, you know, you need more than that. You also need talent and skill, but this team has that. Goldson has said that. This is a really good team that has that skill, that talent, that depth. So if you add that on top, that's really what I think at the end of the day, that 1%, that 1 degree he's talking about, whether you call it physicality or something else, that's all part of it. But it really is about, we have such a strong foundation. How do we squeeze every last bit of juice out of that? Because last year, especially down the stretch, it looked like they were leaving a lot of meat on the bone, and that led to a lot of bad things when they finally got to Edmonton again.
Leave no stone unturned, right? That's a perfect way of putting it.
I want to break. Can we break a minute early? Producer, are we okay with this?
Producer. His name is Ryan.
I know.
Yeah, we can break.
Okay.
seconds early if you want.
Let's do it
Eagle
fast
one.
because we've got a
That's what I'm gonna
minute
call you.
video clip that Sam shot today about practice. I don't want to interrupt it with the break. So let's hit that break real fast. We'll come back. We'll do that. We still have some fun NHL news and notes to hit as well. I don't know if we'll have enough time, but we'll do the best we can here on the DLS Stars podcast.
Is this me?
It is you.
All right, perfect.
You ask me that every time as if it's not already
Well,
predetermined.
my thing froze. It's not
Again.
working for me, and the ad reads here. I'm going to talk to you guys about the newsletter because the newsletter is awesome. And free, guys, totally free. $0.00, and no matter how many decimal points you go to. Robert's a math teacher. He'll tell you. Actually, you weren't a math teacher, but he looks like a math teacher.
I'll still tell you, but I wasn't. Yeah.
But DLS newsletter, guys, it's free. You go to
Call him a
alldls.com
former educator.
newsletter, and it's the best way to get everything about DLS here. Our guy Ali on the Dallas Cowboys show, DLS Cowboys show, does a great job. Puts out the hottest topics from everything going on. So that's maybe the Stars won their second game. The Cowboys lost another brutal game. What else is new? Or there's some great guests that we had on one of our shows. That's what's all in there. It gives you a little summary of an article so you can check out what you want to read. Video links to some of our podcasts, all kinds of awesome stuff. 5 days a week, and it's totally free. alldls.com/newsletter.
Thank you, Sam. As you guys know by now, unless you're just tuning in for the first time, we have sold out our first ever DLS Stars ticket takeover as we go to American Airlines Center and hang out with you, the fans, and watch a game. But it's more than just that. We've already sold it out, so it's not available. But I want to get this on your radar for two reasons. One, you should sign up to be a diehard because most of the tickets sold for the Stars takeover were purchased by diehards in an exclusive heads up before, kind of like a pre-sale. They were alerted to it before we send it out publicly on our show. Well, that means you should be a diehard because we'll probably do another one. And with that, you will have even more fun because they're going to come here in studio, watch our pregame show. We're going to go eat dinner, and then we're going to go to the Stars game. And we're going to sit, Lud, Sam, myself, we're going to sit in the stands. By the way, ball knower bonus. We had the Cowboys-Panthers one. Maybe you got that one right. Maybe you didn't. You could do one tonight. They've got Bears, Commanders. You got about 4 hours to activate that one. There's also, of course, college football. USC Notre Dame is this week. You can pick the winner of that one. There's some other ones as well. Cowboys and Commanders are next weekend, of course. Go to the website, alldls.com. You click on merch. Then you click on the ball knower bonus. And he's over here giggling. I have no idea why. With doing that, you know, it's funny he says that because I'm in my head, I'm going, I should ask Sam if he knows what the name of the Washington football team is right now.
Football team.
It's the Commanders. But anyway,
wow.
Go to the ball knower bonus. Oh, we lost Ryan. Spend at least $25 or up to as much as $250 on merch, and then get your ball knower bonus pick correct, and you will get a gift card for the amount you spent. So you basically double your money. That's the ball knower bonus.
You just said Commanders too, and he's like, football team?
I know. You can't even script how funny that is, right? I love it. Okay, before we get to some other NHL news and notes, I want you to set up your video.
Game time. Oh,
no.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, it's so hard.
I'm ready. Thank you, Robert. The video. Oh yeah, today at practice. So we're all sitting there. Practice is 30 minutes through already. Probably they've done lines. They did some fun drills. It was really fast paced. A lot of work. A lot of breathing heavy from Glenn Goldson's team. This drill. So we're all sitting there talking, and we look up, and all of a sudden, everyone's skating at once. If you can see this, every single player. I want to make sure we got the goalies that are in the corner there doing this drill too.
Cinematography.
It's a one-on-one battle drill. Wyatt Johnson told us there's no rules. You basically start, you race for the puck, and you in 15, 20 seconds when they blow the whistle, whoever still has the puck wins. And as you'll see in a second here, I believe the losers have to do push-ups. So the goalies did the first one, and then after that, they didn't want to do it anymore. They said this is dumb, and they started taking shots. But they'll do another one here.
There goes the whistle.
Start off, get the puck, and then it's a battle.
Yeah,
and
the pucks are all sitting at center ice. You have to race to get to the puck.
Yep, and I know the ones I did see were Maverick against Wyatt, Bischel and Petrovic, and then the funny one to Owen was Tyler Seguin and Mikko Rantanen.
It was funny because Tyler came off the ice looking exhausted, and I said something. I said, tough one. He goes, well, yeah, when you get paired with the Moose, he goes, people don't realize how big of a guy he is.
He's a pretty big guy.
He's a pretty big guy.
Hard to push off the puck.
I
But
know.
it's funny. The biggest thing I took away from that one, as we talked about, Goldson wanting to compete, right? He actually said a quote I think I tweeted out that I loved was, when talent is even on both sides, it usually comes down to hand-to-hand combat. And that's just so true. Like, you get to the Western Conference Final, or the Stanley Cup Final, or even, Game 7 in a series that's even like it was in the first 2 rounds. It doesn't matter who has this guy that can score a goal or this guy that can score a goal, unless you're Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon. But it does matter, those little things, and that's what he's trying to get out of this team in those little battles and things like that. But the other thing was, these guys are so competitive. I mean, as soon as you come in the room, they're all chirping each other. Petrovic's chirping Bischel because he said he beat him in all 3. I asked Wyatt about how he ended up on his back with Maverick on top of him, and he goes, I still had the puck, so I won. The compete between these guys on every little drill, and Jason Robertson, arguing with Casey about a shot. Was it a shot on goal? Was it a goal? It's just hilarious to see the compete from these guys, and there's a reason why they are professional athletes.
Practice. Not a game. Just practice.
Beautiful.
Not a game. Not a game.
That second part really got me right there.
Is there more?
That was good.
No, there was a little pause there, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Let's do a few little NHL news and notes. We have lots more to get to with the Stars, of course, tomorrow night playing in Minnesota Wild. Believe it or
Actually,
not.
last thing on that from what Sam said really quickly. I don't think you can underestimate or overestimate how important it is for a team to have that mentality of hand-to-hand. Like, at the end of the day, what's going to make the difference here isn't us executing our plays better or us being faster or more skilled or getting that save, as maybe kind of some people thought was the case after that Edmonton series. If you have that mentality, know how hard I battle, whether or not I win my hand-to-hand combat, even if it means you maybe take a penalty or 2 more here and there. I really think that they believe, as an organization, they believe that is what they need to get to that next level, or literally next round.
Right.
So you might as well build it in now.
They're
because
so good.
They
but
really believe that.
They can't just
really
trot the same thing as last year out and
Yeah.
expect a different result. This could be that tweak that puts them over the edge.
Yeah, you just think about they always look like the team that's most beat up when they get to that round. They look slower than the Edmonton Oilers, which is easy to do, but they also look beat up. They look more tired. They look like they're having a lot more trouble scoring goals. You throw those hits 5, 6, 7 times over or each game. Now Bouchard's a step slower. If you're playing against Cale Makar, he's a step slower. Connor McDavid is maybe still a step slower, but still a million steps faster than everyone else. But it can wear on people. It's a real thing throughout the playoffs. We've seen teams take advantage of Harley and Heiskanen and throw hits every time they can. And guess who looks tired in Western Conference Final? Harley, Heiskanen, Hintz, the big players. I don't think that's on accident.
All right. We had something cooking from last Thursday night, and that we wanted to talk about, and it just didn't play into our schedule on Friday and Saturday. What a finish. It was a little unfortunate because I thought the Vegas Golden Knights were going to drop points.
Oh, boy.
This is the San Jose Sharks home opener against the Vegas Golden Knights. They're up by a goal. Vegas had played the night before at home and won over LA, I believe. And they're trying to get an empty net goal, and he misses it by an inch or 2, and then he tries to wrap it around. It wasn't Patrick Steffen where he missed a breakaway from the red line. It wasn't.
Puck jumped on him.
It wasn't quite that bad.
Did it just roll off, or did it get blocked by Theodore or whoever was right there? Did anyone see?
On the wraparound or before that?
Wraparound.
Yeah, they blocked it.
They did block it. Okay,
So,
that's what I thought.
Ryan, can you back that up, or is that all part of the loop? Go back about 3 frames, if you would, please. Right there. He didn't quite have control of that one. The first miss was worse of the 2.
I think Theodore got that.
Okay.
But then you get going the other direction. And so they missed an empty net. Could have scored. It would have been 4-2. Would have been done and dusted. San Jose wins over Vegas. Then the puck gets lobbed in from the red line, and it bounces past Alex Nedeljkovic, and it goes in. It's a howler of a goal and ties the game at 3. Should never have gone in. And you're thinking, that's awful. What a horrible way to go to overtime.
How could it get worse?
Could it get worse? Then in 3-on-3 overtime, here comes Nedeljkovic thinking, I'm going to play this puck near the blue line. By the way, he can't cross the red line with the puck. It's a penalty. And what happens? He whiffs. And Riley Smith, who's in this frame, we have another one.
Former Dallas Star.
And Texas Star. He scores an empty net tap-in goal because it gets by Nedeljkovic. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, if I'm not saying that the San Jose Sharks are tanking for Gavin McKenna, but if you were, that's a great way to make it look like you're trying really hard.
I just feel bad for Alex Nedeljkovic, who, like, it's been 5 days now, and he probably, is innocently out there. We'll figure out, I'll tune into a hockey podcast, see how the Stars are doing, and then boom, he's catching strays.
He is notorious.
Still
for
days
listening
later.
to our podcast.
Yeah, Alex,
boy,
thank you so much for joining us.
That's rough.
No, but
That is rough.
I will say it's funny watching Riley Smith because he kind of half plays that because he's not, in overtime it's tough because you're matched up. I think Glenn just talked about this morning. You don't know whether to go after the goalie sometimes because if you do and he gets it by you, it's an odd man rush the other way. So Smith kind of skates by him and passes, and then by the time he turns to look over his shoulder and see where it is, he's actually getting the pass from his own teammate for an empty net goal. So what a San Jose Sharks sequence. I remember when I worked at the NHL office a couple of years ago, I'd always get assigned the Sharks games, and I'd edit the Taylor Baird and the other NHL correspondents articles. And I'd always get the Sharks 10:30 game, and that was when they were bad. Their year was really, really bad. They lost 2 games in a row, 10-1 and 10-2, and that's what it looked like. They just found ways to do that type of thing every single time.
It was like the Little League plays,
yeah,
right?
you just something
throw over first, he runs a second, throw it past
just
second.
How is what you ask yourself, and so that wasn't as bad. They got a point against the Vegas Golden Knights, but probably should have had.
Didn't they lose their next game like 7-6 also?
Probably.
They gave up some goals. Let's see. That would have been, it wasn't Friday night because there weren't any games on Friday night. Hey, now, but they all played on Saturday and checking out.
Because John Klingberg scored, former Dallas Star. John Klingberg scored a goal.
Ryan Reeves scored his first goal as a Shark, and they lost to the Ducks 7-6.
7-6
in overtime.
So they're
racking up points.
By the way,
they're racking up points.
The Ducks had to score with 51 seconds left in regulation to force overtime. The Sharks were actually up by 2, 6-4, and a goal at the halfway point of the third, and then in the final minute from Chris Kreider, new Duck, and then Leo Carlson in overtime, 46 seconds in. That's let's see. That's 2 points that the Sharks should have had.
Piling up points, man. They're piling up points.
Giving them away.
They and the Colorado Avalanche
Playoff
getting those
team.
loser points. That's what you need.
Playoff team.
So Sharks and Avs, basically same thing. It's great.
That's gonna be a first round matchup.
On a serious note, Lane Hudson has signed a
5
new
years.
contract today. The youngster who was, by the way, the Calder Trophy winner. This is a more newer trend of teams identifying their young talent and getting them to longer-term deals earlier, which I think is a smart thing to do. Bet on your talent. Well, he's only 21, but he signed an 8-year extension, which will kick in after his ELC is up. An $8.85 million AAV, $70.8 million in total money for the guy who's going to be an RFA at the end of this year. But they are giving him the big money early, and I don't think there's any reason to think he doesn't deserve that.
It's making more than Miro Heiskanen starting next year.
Are you okay, Sam?
Yeah, people on the chat are saying it looks like I have a neck tattoo for this microphone, so I'm trying to play around and make it look like
You
that.
told me you just had the tramp stamp. That was it.
Yeah, all I have. Luds has a tattoo that we didn't know about. I'm not going to say that because he's not here, but he's got a tattoo that we don't know about that he won't show us. But I wanted to say that our guy T.O. says that Robert Tiffin is the 5th Beatle.
Nice.
That's not good. Unless it's Bob Dylan,
of the
which
DLS
some people would
Stars crew.
say.
Well,
So welcome.
We'd have to do the math on it, but you and
Okay,
Heike,
who's Ringo, though? That's the real question.
you and Heike have both been multi guest appearances.
Heike
so
wins. Whatever the comparison is.
it's
Heike
close,
wins. Yeah.
but yeah,
Mike-
we should
Mike's
do a
true.
Mike just
guest
loves true.
appearance
Mike loves
leaderboard.
to be
like
on
the Top
TV.
Gear thing with the lap times,
and
you know,
both
on the board. Yeah.
get points for coming on in Finland. So,
Oh, yeah.
and you both did it. So it's neck and neck right now.
Mike loves to say, I was on TV.
I was on TV.
I was on the TV yesterday.
Lastly, 2 things. Evgeny Dodonov for the New Jersey Devils placed on IR yesterday because he has a fractured hand, which is sad to see.
No, that's bad.
I'm disappointed about that, so I hope he heals up, but he'll be out for a little bit. And then, Ryan, if you'd pop up the 3 stars real quick for the week, just to sign off our NHL News and Notes. The NHL's first weeks of 3 stars. Look at Pavel Dorofeev. The young Russian has 5 goals already in just 3 games played for the Vegas Golden Knights. I think that, we're talking about Marner. Eichel just signed his new deal at $13.5 million, which is definitely more team-friendly than Kirill Kaprizov, who we'll see tomorrow night. Dorofeev, don't sleep on this guy. He could be a 40 or 50 goal scorer for this Vegas team this year.
It's a deep team. That's why I picked him to win the cup.
I mean, we did picked Vegas, but that's maybe for reverse curse kind of things. Thoughts about and then look at Shane Pinto having a nice week. And of course, the Florida Panthers, injuries abound. Don't worry about it. Just 3 wins
Bob
for
will handle it.
Bobrovsky.
You think Ottawa makes the playoffs?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do. Yep. I think maybe even at the cost of Montreal, which is Ottawa, Columbus, Montreal, they're all in that mix. But I think the Senators got a taste and they move up.
Well, that Josh Norris trade is also looking pretty good for them too.
It is. He
Timing-wise.
just got hurt, didn't he?
Yeah, for Buffalo,
unfortunately.
which is
Don't sleep on
unfortunate.
Ottawa. Well, they could battle for the division with these guys that are all trying to figure everything out over there.
The East
Injuries
feels a little bit
galore.
wide open
It feels
right now.
very
doesn't
open.
It?
It does, yeah.
Great show today. Huge thank you to Robert for coming on. And don't forget to check out his great work on starsthoughts.com. It is wonderful. And if you're looking for in-depth coverage, besides us, of course, he is a great source.
Very
for
different.
that.
He'll give you stuff that I don't even think
Yes,
about.
these two writers, very different in what they are giving to the table.
I
As
read
you-
everything Sam writes for the record, so should you.
I do too.
So thank you to
all
Robert. Thank you to
20,000 words
Sam.
a year.
Thank you to Ryan, our producer, who we did not just call him producer. I'm Owen.
Thanks, Eagle One.
7:45 tomorrow night, pregame show live here from the studio. Sam will be at the AAC. I'll be over there afterwards. Stars and Wild, home opener tomorrow night.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
We all silly like the mayor.